We are close. Second launch tower at Starbase is coming. Third orbital Starship testing campaign soon. Tank farm expansion continues. Artemis 3 is delayed. SpaceX will launch a secret spaceplane. My name is Felix. Welcome to What About It? Let's dive right in. Starship updates. Today's visit to Starbase takes us straight to the suborbital launch site. Although there is no prototype currently present here, we know that Ship 28 is undergoing its final preparations. Soon it will be transported here for a series of tests including spin prime and static fire. The site itself is undergoing quite a transformation, becoming increasingly aesthetically pleasing. In the last episode we saw the beginnings of a new sign being set up. Now the letters are complete, proudly displaying the phrase "Gateway to Mars", which feels strikingly appropriate for this place. While Boca Chica's geographical positioning might not make it an ideal launch point for Mars missions, it undeniably is the birthplace of the technology and progress necessary for human Mars exploration. On the orbital side, the tank farm expansion continues. Recently, we saw 3 large cryogenic tanks delivered, with their exact purpose still shrouded in mystery. On November 29th, 2 additional tanks arrived, increasing the total to 5. Our recent flyover, possible thanks to Redline Heli, allows us to see the tank farm in a brand new light. There appears to be more room for 2 or even 3 more tanks, potentially bringing the total to 8 cryogenic vessels. Notably, the tanks are arranged in groups, 3 in one cluster and 2 in another. This might hint at what will be stored inside. A possible configuration could be this. Starting from the left, 4 tanks would be dedicated to liquid oxygen, followed by 3 for nitrogen and the last 8 for methane. This layout for the tank farm could allow SpaceX to get rid of all vertical tanks. Additionally, by positioning methane and oxygen tanks with nitrogen tanks in between, there would be less worry of something going terribly wrong. Nitrogen, being non-flammable and incapable of sustaining a fire, could be a natural barrier between the more reactive oxygen and methane. That's pure speculation at this stage. However, it seems like a straightforward solution to modernize the tank farm without resorting to crazy designs. Like the methane sphere mentioned in our last episode, or burying the tanks underground as suggested by many in the comments of the last episode. Adjacent to the tank farm, crews are already dismantling old piping and installing new infrastructure that will likely integrate with the new tanks. This pace of progress suggests that the refreshed farm might even be operational for the third orbital flight test. Want to book your own ride at Starbase and see these things in person, or just enjoy one of the most incredible views in the world? Go to redlineheli.com/Felix. You'll find the link in the description. We can't recommend them enough. I promise you won't ever forget this. Shifting the focus to the central part of Stage 0, known as the Orbital Launch Integration Tower, we observe ongoing preparations for Booster 10. On November 29th, one of the 2 booster stabilization pins was reinstalled on the launch deck. These pins are crucial for aligning the Super Heavy when it is lifted, and often are a good indicator of an upcoming launch, as they are typically removed just a few days before liftoff. Their reinstallation could signal that the launch table is in good condition and almost ready to support another prototype. Recently, workers also removed the back shield from the booster quick disconnect. We saw something similar after the first flight. Back then, it was removed to replace all the fuel lines. Hopefully they just need better access to the retraction mechanism this time, as damaged piping wouldn't be a good sign for rapid reusability. Additionally, significant attention is being directed towards Mechazilla's arms. After repeatedly lifting prototypes for months, the arms may be undergoing routine refurbishment to ensure that they can lift dozens of prototypes in the future. Continuing our journey down Highway 4, just 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles away, we arrive at the build site, the cradle of all Starship prototypes. Currently, the high bay is bustling with activity, housing 4 prototypes. At the front, Ship 30 is likely in the engine installation process. To its right, we find the aforementioned Ship 28. Tucked away in the rear are Ship 32 and Ship 29. These represent the last V1 upper stages before SpaceX transitions to the next generation of ships. In front of the high bay lies the ring yard, home to various components like this nose cone and the hot staging test article. Many of these parts might be destined for scrapping as SpaceX gears up to produce components for the new version 2 ships. If you've not heard of the version 2 Starship change, look at episode 320. Here is a card for you to click on. This is important knowledge from here on. Adjacent to the high bay is the mega bay, which currently houses 4 boosters. That is right, 4 ships and 4 boosters are inside those bays. Inside you'll find booster 10, prepped for the upcoming flight, along with booster 11, which recently got its CO2 tank, and booster 12. Surprisingly, there's also half of booster 13, though its production stalled weeks ago. SpaceX might pause booster production until they get more flight data. If the current design works, they may stick to it. If not, Super Heavy might get a massive generation jump like the upcoming ships. Once production resumes, some of these new prototypes will be constructed in the second mega bay. A few days ago, this building began receiving its final touches, with glass panels being installed surprisingly quickly. Interestingly, the new windows installed in the second mega bay are notably different from those in the first. Despite the first bay having been operational for years, it still has some scaffolding near its roof, so fingers crossed that with the second bay things will progress quicker. To see the rest of the changes to the build site, we have to once again look at it from the air. Get to the chopper! Our first stop is the Star Factory, which aims to enhance the Starship production rate further. After several months of construction, the next phase of this building is approaching completion. The extended nose cone area is receiving its final wall tiles and HVAC units are being installed, which is often done at the end of construction. However, while the outside is almost complete, there is still a ton of work on the interior to prepare the factory for Starship part production. Unfortunately, without any glass sections to offer a glimpse inside, it is difficult to tell at exactly what stage the current work is. Adjacent to the current phase, preparation for the next phase is underway. The groundwork is nearly complete, setting the stage for concrete pouring. It should be just a matter of weeks until we see the first beams of another part of Star Factory. Moving to the Sanchez site, we get a hint of something incredibly exciting. Do you see it? While it might seem like just another patch of ground at first glance, a closer look reveals 4 squares soon to be filled with concrete. We have seen this before. These will form the foundation for the staging area needed for the second Starship tower. Although the second OLED's location remains unknown, pieces of its upper section are already visible near this site. I cannot wait to see the second Starship tower. It will take some time until that second tower is operational, but all the clues we already have suggest that it's really just that, a matter of time. What do you think its purpose will be? Improving the launch cadence or maybe just Starship catching? Please let me know in the comments. As Starship development continues, there is new, albeit not too optimistic information regarding the Artemis 3 mission. The United States government oversees numerous multi-billion-dollar projects through various agencies. To ensure efficient use of funds, Congress uses the Government Accountability Office, or GAO, to assess the progress of these projects. The GAO has been involved in several critical space-related reports, including the selection of SpaceX as the sole provider for the human landing system. They also checked the sustainability of NASA's SLS. The agency's recent focus has been on the Artemis program, particularly the Artemis 3 mission, which aims to return humans to the moon for the first time since the Apollo era. Unfortunately, the GAO's findings raise some concerns. The Artemis 3 mission's basic plan involves launching a fuel depot into low Earth orbit, which will then be fueled using multiple Starship tanker launches. Once fully fueled, a lunar Starship will launch to rendezvous with the fuel depot, preparing for the journey to the moon. Simultaneously, a crew of 4 astronauts will travel in the Orion capsule, launched into lunar orbit by the SLS. Upon reaching the moon, Orion and the lunar Starship will dock, allowing astronauts to transfer to it for their landing. Following their mission conclusion on the lunar surface, the crew will return to lunar orbit aboard the lunar Starship and return to Orion for their journey home. While the mission plan may sound straightforward, it involves a series of highly complex maneuvers. I'd go as far as to say that this will be the most challenging mission ever attempted by humanity to date. For this ambitious plan to succeed, SpaceX must achieve regular orbit launches and master orbital propellant transfer, a feat yet to be accomplished at that scale by anyone. Additionally, they'll need to land a Starship on the Moon successfully in a test mission, followed by reliably launching multiple Starships for the final Artemis 3 mission. And each of these steps presents its own set of challenges. Given the multitude of tasks that need to be accomplished, launching the Artemis 3 mission within 2 years, as currently scheduled for 2025, is a monumental undertaking. Especially considering that Starship hasn't yet reached orbit. While SpaceX is known for its rapid progress and ambitious goals, the reality of conducting tens of test launches and developing so many vital technologies within such a tight time frame seems unachievable. We talked about this on the Y team. There is almost no way this can happen in 2 years. And guess what? The GAO seems to have a similar opinion. According to them, the 2025 target is overly optimistic, suggesting that with all factors considered, the first moon landing under this program is more likely to occur in early 2027. Several factors contribute to this delay. Firstly, NASA's timeline for the Human Landing System program is incredibly ambitious, planning to launch humans just 79 months after its inception. This is 13 months shorter than the average duration for major NASA projects. Not to mention that the progress was further hampered by Blue Origin's lawsuit, which resulted in a temporary halt to all activities. Additionally, the nature of Starship's design philosophy means that each step depends on the successful completion of the previous one. For instance, propellant transfer testing can't proceed without first achieving orbit, and a moon landing test can't occur without mastering propellant transfer. The delay isn't confined to SpaceX alone. Axiom, selected by NASA to continue the development of their EVA suits for the Artemis 3 mission, encountered issues with the initial design specifications provided by NASA. Turns out that NASA's own design didn't meet the minimum emergency life support requirements, forcing Axiom to redesign core parts of the suit, causing more delays. In my view, a moon landing in 2027 would still be a remarkable feat. After all, that's only 3 years from now. But what do you think? Is a 2027 moon landing feasible for SpaceX and NASA, or are we more likely to see an attempt closer to 2030? Share your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Now here's a little task for you. YouTube might have unsubscribed you without your knowledge. Not kidding, they seem to do this frequently. Double check that subscribe button so that you don't miss our updates. While checking, hit the like button and consider becoming a Y supporter for exclusive SpaceX updates. With it, you get access to daily Starbase photo galleries, now including orbital, aerial, and ground photos of SpaceX's progress, and countless other extras on top. No matter how much you decide to give, everyone gets the same supporter content and access. You decide what you want to give. Check our new website as well, launch previews, road closures, the latest weather report, and our multi-stream viewer, whataboutit.space. Thanks to all the supporters helping to lift What About It to the next production level. We can't thank you enough. You rock. It is cold outside and I'm always busy, but I factored in a solution for nutritious, dietitian-approved meals to my home. Factor is a meal delivery service crafted by gourmet chefs using ingredients with integrity that aim to help you feel your best. Now owned by HelloFresh, Factor has expanded their meal plan. I personally enjoy alternating between brands, and now you can enjoy these fresh discounts with me too. Factor streamlines grocery trips and cooking with the delivery of delicious, fresh, never frozen meals. Their service has spared me from dish stacking dilemmas and gifted me with extra time for my family and projects. Simply heat, eat, and enjoy within minutes using an oven or microwave. What's your favorite dish? Comment below. Factor is flexible in both taste and time. It allows me to easily adjust order sizes, share meals, or delay deliveries. Their menus change weekly, showcasing over 27 meals and 33 add-ons. I get to choose my favorites or let Factor curate orders based on my taste preferences and meal history. Factor, factoring in fresh, nutritious meals. Get 50% off your first Factor box at factor75.com or click the link below and use code FELIX50. Returning to the news, we begin with a mission full of secrets. For those closely monitoring SpaceX's launch activities, you might have noticed that there's been a pause in launches from LC-39A. In fact, the last mission from this pad was the CRS-29 launch on November 10th, carrying a Dragon capsule to the ISS. So what's the reason behind this pause? It turns out that SpaceX has been preparing the pad for an upcoming Falcon Heavy mission. This mission is particularly noteworthy because it will mark the first time the X-37B will be launched aboard a Falcon Heavy. This is epic! X-30 what? Felix, what are you talking about? The X-37 is a mysterious US spaceplane with a fascinating history. The project was initiated in 1999 when Boeing secured a contract from NASA to develop a space shuttle-derived vehicle capable of autonomous operation. While the project is classified, some details were released to the public. For instance, we know that the X-37 measures 8.8 meters or 28.8 feet in length, roughly a quarter of the space shuttle's length. It also has a wingspan of about 4.5 meters or 14.7 feet, which is 1/5 of the shuttle's wingspan. So it is a mini shuttle. Like the original space shuttle, the X-37 utilizes heat tiles for re-entry and features its own propulsion system powered by an engine built by Aerojet Rocketdyne. It also boasts a payload bay and deployable solar panels to generate power in space. And we know that the X-37 project eventually evolved into two variants, the X-37A and the X-37B. NASA and DARPA utilize the former while the Space Force operates the latter. To date, we know about the existence of one X-37A and two X-37Bs. The secretive nature of the X-37 project has fueled extensive speculation about its purpose and missions. One theory suggests that the X-37B was initially deployed to survey China's Tiangong-1 space station. The prototype station launched in 2011, not the one in orbit right now. However, this speculation is debatable, as the respective orbits of the space station and the space plane, while intersecting from time to time, were likely too fast to capture anything substantial. Another hypothesis is that the X-37B is a testing ground for experimental technologies like the EM drive thrusters, which supposedly generate thrust using microwaves. Although to achieve that, they would have to break a few laws of physics, so I doubt that's what they are testing. Other speculations range from deploying spying equipment to experimentation with orbital lasers. The Space Force has given us some insights into the program in recent years. They claim that X-37B has been used to test technologies to harness and transmit solar energy to Earth. That would be great. It has also studied the effects of prolonged space exposure on organic materials, like potato salad. Speaking of longevity, the X-37B has completed 6 missions with its lengthiest stay in space exceeding 900 days. On top of that, it has performed in space for 3,774 days, more than 10 years total spacetime. Unlike the STS, the X-37B is encapsulated within a fairing and is compatible with Atlas V, Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets. While most of its missions have been conducted using ULA's Atlas V, one mission utilized a Falcon 9. I mention this as back then they've not only used the older Block 4 variant of Falcon 9, but the booster also returned to the launch site. This indicated that the plane was deployed in low Earth orbit. And sure enough, the orbit was later approximated to be 355 kilometers or 220 miles. Recent images from SpaceX taken at the LC-39A hangar reveal that the rocket's core stage lacks landing legs. This proves that the core stage will be expendable, indicating that the mission's targeted orbit is significantly higher than all previous X-37B launches. To infinity and beyond. The mission may aim for a geosynchronous transfer orbit or even a direct injection into GEO. In such a scenario, the X-37B would maintain a fixed position relative to a point on Earth's surface. While, as expected, the specifics of the onboard experiments for this mission are largely classified, there is one exception. Apparently, NASA is adding their own experiment known as SEEDS-2. It aims to study the effects of spaceflight's intense radiation environment on plant seeds. As of now, the launch is scheduled for December 10th, with a more defined launch window expected to be announced as the date draws closer. I really hope that at some point we'll learn all the secrets of X-37B. That's it for today. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe for more awesome content. This is what fuels the algorithm and helps us immensely. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. A link is in the description. And if you want to train your space IQ even further, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Morse. The windows. With the fuel depot. Peanut hamper. The 20 to 30. Materials.